attending this. Hopefully, we'll give you a little idea of at least what we are doing at Sarvam. So let's see if I can make the clicker work. Okay, good. So Sarvam is a startup, and our mission is very simple. We want to make Gen AI real for Bharat at a population scale. And to do that, we believe that we need to innovate across the entire stack, right from foundation models to infrastructure as to the application layer, where people will actually consume Gen AI. And I think in the end, the goal is that we have to get 1 billion Indians to do something useful with Gen AI, and that is our mission to make that possible. Okay. So we have actually got 4 founding theses. The first thing, of course, is that, and I think I don't need to tell this audience, but most people, when they have started interacting with Gen AI, it's a chatbot or it's something that, and in the end, we need things that, and then I want to use agents in a slightly different way than just agentic things, that we want to get things done. And I think that's our focus, to actually enable people to get things done leveraging Gen AI. The second thing in our thesis is, I think we are focused on small models. I mean, everybody knows, I think the models are getting bigger and bigger, whether it's OpenAI or Anthropic, and these are wonderful models, and they do amazing things. And we wouldn't be having these conferences if they hadn't been doing those things. But the important thing is this, that if I want to do something that I do once a month, or I want to do once a week, or I want to do a POC, please use the best and the biggest model that's out there. That's the only thing that you want to be able to do. But if you want to do something 1 million times a day or 1 billion times a day, and it's a very narrow thing that you want to do, a small model is always the answer. It is the answer because it is more accurate, it is more efficient, and it is lower latency, and probably also causes less global warming. So therefore, you have to understand when to use the frontier models and when you are actually supposed to build a small model that solves your problem. The third thing is, as we said, India is a country we like to speak, to do everything. And so therefore, fundamentally, we believe that our solutions need to be voice-led and voice-led in Indian languages. And that's the third important thing. And the fourth thing, sovereignty, when you say sovereignty, it's not sovereignty of, you can think of it that way, sovereignty of India, but the point is, when I have small models, I can have my own compute where these models run. I can have my own data, and I can have my own models, right? Think about it. We are now in a situation where we're taking the most critical enterprise data and say, okay, let's give it to XYZ. They give you all kinds of guarantees, but do you really think that that's really the right way to solve real problems? So when I say sovereignty, I'm talking about organizational sovereignty, enterprise sovereignty, and that's the key point, that these are the core things that we focus on. I don't know whether I figured out. Okay. So therefore, I think at Sarvam really we launched some of our products last month. We have 4 products. The first thing is actually these agents, and we'll talk about these are actually agents which are where you can have natural language conversations. It can be done in multiple channels, and we'll talk about that more. We'll talk about the Sarvam stack itself, which is basically how these tools can be deployed in different kinds of situations. In fact, many of the things that we built are actually not single models, but they're orchestrations of multiple models. So all our models are also available as APIs. So other people who are building Gen AI experiences can leverage these models to build their own things, which are different. And then we also have something specifically on Indian legal systems, which is basically focused on how you actually, so we have these 4 products. I won't talk about most of the other ones, but I just want you to know what Sarvam has. So we'll come a little bit to Sarvam agents. And Sarvam agents are, as I said before, they are available in 3 channels. The first is that you can actually make a call. The second channel that it's available is available on WhatsApp. And the third place where a server match agent can be deployed is inside an app where you want to speak to someone contextually when you want to get something done. So let's talk a little bit about the telephone agents. I won't talk about it. Maybe we'll start with an experience that we have here. So. Oh, is it playing? I think there is an audio problem. Is it a sound problem? Can we fix the sound problem?
Yes,
please?
yes, on it. Yeah.
Yes. How do I go back on this slide? I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's playing now. Yeah.
Okay, we'll start from the beginning now.
ಸಿಲ್ಕ್ ಹೇರ್ ಶಾಂಪೂ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಫೀಡ್ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀರಾ?
Can you increase the volume, please?
Yes.
ತಿಂಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಲ್ಕ್ ಹೇರ್ ಶಾಂಪೂ ಮಾರೋಕೆ ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಸೇಲ್ಸ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಗೂ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರಾ?
ಬಂದಿದ್ರು.
ನೀವು ಅವರಿಂದ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ?
ಶಾಂಪೂ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೆ.
ನೀವು ಏನು ತಗೊಂಡ್ರಿ? ಬಾಟಲ್ನ ಅಥವಾ ಸ್ಯಾಚೆಟ್ನ?
ನಾನು ಅವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ ಬಾಟಲ್ ತಗೊಂಡೆ.
ನೀವು ಯಾವ ವೇರಿಯಂಟ್ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರಿ? ನೀಮ್, ರೋಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ಸ್ಯಾಂಡಲ್ವುಡ್?
ವೇರಿಯಂಟ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ.
ನಮ್ಮ ಶಾಂಪೂನ್ 3 ವೇರಿಯಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ನೀಮ್ ಗ್ರೀನ್ ಪ್ಯಾಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ರೋಸ್ ರೆಡ್ ಪ್ಯಾಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಗುಲಾಬಿ ವಾಸನೆ ಜೊತೆ ಮತ್ತು ಸ್ಯಾಂಡಲ್ವುಡ್ ಆರೆಂಜ್ ಪ್ಯಾಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಚಂದ್ರನ ವಾಸನೆ ಜೊತೆ. ನೀವು ಯಾವ ವೇರಿಯಂಟ್ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರಿ?
ನಾನು ರೆಡ್ ಕಲರ್ ಬಾಟಲ್ ತಗೊಂಡೆ.
ನೀವು ರೋಸ್ ವೇರಿಯಂಟ್ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ನೀವು ಅದನ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಚಾನ್ಸ್ ಸಿಕ್ತುವಾ?
ಸಿಕ್ತು, ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ.
ನಿಮಗೆ ಶಾಂಪೂ ಇಷ್ಟ ಆಯ್ತಾ?
ಇಷ್ಟ ಆಯಿತು. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಶಾಂಪೂ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ.
ನಮ್ಮ ಶಾಂಪೂ ನಿಮಗೆ ಹೇಗಿತ್ತು? ಇಷ್ಟ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ, ಸ್ಮೆಲ್, ಪ್ಯಾಕಿಂಗ್ ಅಥವಾ ಪ್ರೈಸ್?
ನಿಮ್ಮ ಶಾಂಪೂದು ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ ತುಂಬ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ. ನಾನು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ನನ್ನ ಹೇರ್ ಫುಲ್ಲು ಶೈನಿ ಆಗಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿತ್ತು. ಒಂದ್ಸತಿ ನಾನು ನಮ್ಮ ಡಾಗ್ಗೆ ಕೂಡ ಸ್ನಾನ ಮಾಡ್ಸೋಕ್ಕೆ ಆ ಶಾಂಪೂನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ. ಅದ್ರದ್ದು ಕೂದಲು ಫುಲ್ಲು ಶೈನಿ ಆಗಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ.
ನಮ್ಮ ಶಾಂಪೂನ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿಗೆ ನೀವು ಎಷ್ಟು ರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀರಾ?
ನಾನು 4/5 ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ.
ನೀವು ಸಿಲ್ಕ್ ಹೇರ್ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬೇರೆ ಯಾವುದಾದರೂ ಶಾಂಪೂ ಬಳಸುತ್ತೀರಾ?
ಇಲ್ಲ.
ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಯವರು ಬೇರೆ ಯಾವುದಾದರೂ ಶಾಂಪೂನ್ ಬಳಸ್ತಾರಾ?
ನಮ್ಮ ಅಣ್ಣ ಬೇರೆ ಶಾಂಪೂ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ.
ನಿನ್ನ ಅಣ್ಣ ಯಾವ ಬ್ರ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ?
ಮೂನ್ ಸಿಲ್ಕ್ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಶಾಂಪೂ ಇದೆ, ಅವನು ಅದನ್ನು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ.
ಅವನಿಗೆ ಮೂನ್ ಸಿಲ್ಕ್ ಶಾಂಪರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಇಷ್ಟ?
ಆ ಶಾಂಪೂ ಚೀಪ್ ಇದೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಇಷ್ಟ.
ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಇಂಪ್ರೂವ್ ಮಾಡೋಕೆ ನಾವು ಏನು ಮಾಡಬಹುದು?
ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ದು ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಬೆಟರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ, ಬಟ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದೆ.
ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸಲಹೆಗೆ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು. ನಾವು ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡೋಕೆ ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಸರ್ವಾಮ್ ಜೊತೆ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು. ಒಳ್ಳೆಯ ದಿನ ನಿಮ್ಮದಾಗಲಿ.
So let's do let's do another thing if you get out here. Okay, another experience.
सर्वम साथी तक पहुंचने के लिए धन्यवाद. आपकी क्या मदद कर सकती हूँ?
मेरी तबीयत बहुत खराब हो रही है.
मुझे बहुत दुख हुआ कि आप ठीक नहीं हैं. क्या आप मुझे थोड़ा बता सकती हैं कि आपकी हेल्थ के साथ क्या हो रहा है?
मुझे दांत में बहुत दर्द है.
दांत में दर्द बहुत ज़्यादा दर्दनाक हो सकता है. मैं आपके आसपास कुछ अच्छे डेंटिस्ट सजेस्ट कर सकती हूँ जो आपको इसमें मदद कर सकते हैं. क्या आप मुझे अपना लोकेशन शेयर कर सकती हैं?
मैं बैंगलोर में हूँ.
बैंगलोर में बहुत अच्छे डेंटिस्ट हैं. आप मुझे बता सकते हैं कि आप बैंगलोर के किस पार्ट में रह रहे हैं?
इंदिरा नगर.
इंदिरा नगर में कई अच्छे डेंटल क्लिनिक्स हैं. मुझे आपके एरिया में कुछ टॉप डेंटिस्ट मिल गए हैं. क्या मैं आपको व्हाट्सएप पे भेज दूं ताकि आप देख सकें?
मुझे एक्चुअली रूट कनाल कराना है, तो आप उस हिसाब से भेजिएगा.
ज़रूर. मैंने उन डेंटिस्ट की लिस्ट अपडेट कर दी है जो रूट कैनाल कर सकते हैं और जिनके बारे में पॉजिटिव रिव्यूज़ हैं.
इनमें से कोई मेरी हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस से कवर्ड है क्या?
मैं आपके लिए ये चेक कर लेती हूँ। जहाँ तक मुझे पता है, इंदिरानगर में स्माइल एंड शाइन क्लिनिक हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस में कवर्ड है।
वो
क्या
और
आप
क्या
उनके
क्या
बारे
सर्विसेज देते हैं?
स्माइल एंड शाइन क्लिनिक में डेंटल क्लीनिंग, कैविटी फिलिंग, टीथ अलाइनमेंट और टूथ एक्सट्रैक्शन जैसी
ठीक
कई।
है, समझ गया।
अब क्या आप स्माइल एंड शाइन क्लिनिक के साथ अपॉइंटमेंट सेट करने में मेरी मदद चाहेंगे?
हाँ जी,
मैं आप
प्लीज़।
मैंने उनकी अवेलेबिलिटी चेक कर ली है और मेरे पास आपके लिए 16th ऑफ अगस्त को सुबह
नहीं
10
नहीं
बजे।
नहीं, मैं लॉन्ग वीकेंड के लिए बाहर जा रहा हूँ, कोई और स्लॉट आप सजेस्ट करिए।
मुझे फिर से चेक करने दीजिए। मेरे पास 20th ऑफ अगस्त को सुबह 10 बजे एक और स्लॉट अवेलेबल है।
हाँ, ये सही है।
मैंने आपके लिए स्माइल एंड शाइन क्लिनिक में 20th ऑफ अगस्त को सुबह 10 बजे अपॉइंटमेंट बुक कर ली है। आपको व्हाट्सएप पर कंफर्मेशन भेज दिया गया है। क्या मैं आपकी और कोई मदद कर सकती हूँ?
नहीं, थैंक यू।
आपका समय देने के लिए धन्यवाद।
Okay. So, so what does this mean? I think one of the things is that we have released agents in 10 Indian languages. And what it means is that you can actually create one and it becomes available in all languages. You can go national for any kind of campaign or whatever you want to do. You can listen at scale and you can unlock new ways of engagement. And that's really what we want to be able to do with these voice agents. And how much would it cost? I think we are starting off at 1 rupee per minute is what we think we can provide agents of these things. And I think the important thing before we move on, the reason we can do this is that we are dealing with small models. We are dealing with orchestration and latency being low and things like that. All of those things are related to the fact that we are working with small models, and that's one of the core things that we are focused on. As I said, this same kind of thing can actually be done in WhatsApp as well, and I think you can do lots of interesting things. You can actually generate UI, and for LLMs actually generate UI on WhatsApp and things like that. So you can actually have a very, not a linear conversation, a very complex conversation where you're trying to understand products and deliver things, voice notes, images, text, everything can be done. I won't show a demo, but there are all kinds of interesting things that you can do this. And the agent, our authoring platform exactly the same. You can actually author the same platform and deploy on WhatsApp, deploy on a phone call, deploy inside an app, and all of them are actually the same. You can do payments. You can actually do a full commercial transaction on WhatsApp using these kinds of things. It's create your own microflows, multimodal text, image, UI, voice, everything is supported in there. Okay, but here we'll talk about, and we can also give it inside an app. And one of the interesting things about our models are that we are multilingual by definition. So there's a short video. It's actually a longer thing, but you can actually go to our website and talk to the Sarvam sales assistant, and I'll give you an idea about what it is. So. Oh, what's happened? Again, audio problem?
Can you fix that, please? Just a minute. Yeah.
Okay, this.
Can you play it?
Anyway, somehow it's not playing. It doesn't matter. You can go to our website. Actually, it's there. You can actually talk to a bot. And if you speak in a different language, it'll automatically start speaking back to you in that language. So therefore, and you can change the language. You can actually book a real appointment. You can get a, get it to send a presentation and do all those kinds of things in this. So therefore, that's something, maybe we'll give that as a task for people to do if you're interested in doing that. We'll move on. So then the other part about Sarvam itself is that, we have many different, it's actually an orchestration of multiple different models. We have models in 10 Indian languages that are voice, text. We handle all kinds of documents. We do tool calling. All of those things are built into the stack itself. And then we have the fabric, which is basically a number of low latency pipelines that can actually combine all these models and orchestrate them. And it's also got observability, guardrails, all of those kind of enterprise things are built in there. We also have an authoring platform, which basically allows as a low-code platform, wherein typically, in 15 minutes, you can create a bot which actually does something useful for you. If you want to do that for, if you want something that you want to put in production, probably in a few days, you can actually have something that you can deploy on production, working in 10 languages in that fashion. This same thing is also available in terms of you can, as I said, the people, and these are for larger enterprises and stuff like that, people can actually, we have methods by which you can actually deploy this entire thing completely in your control so that you can actually do, you can serve models, you can, generate data. By the way, synthetic data generation is a big thing, and you can train agents. All of these things you can do in the same single cycle within your enterprise and completely in your control for what you need to do. And that enables basically, sovereign AI, your data, your model, and your compute. So therefore, that's you're not really dependent on any of third party to do these kinds of things. Now I'll talk a little bit about some of the open source. So one of the things that we believe is I come from an open source background. So we actually created certain open source things, which anybody who's an enthusiast can actually use. Some of these things. These are researchy things, so therefore we put it out there. You have to kind of play with it and make it work to whatever you need. So I'm going to talk about 2 open source projects we did. The first project is, traditionally when you do, when you think about how these things, they are pipelines, right? So you have a speech recognition step. After that, you have a translation step. Maybe you have an LLM response, and you get certain text. And so what we did was, we took and we basically built an audio front end on Llama 3, okay? And so therefore now you can go straight from Indian language audio into Llama output. So, and we have open sourced that ability for people to do for this. So just give it, here is a short video to see how this works.
Demo of our Shuka model, which directly takes in audio as input and tries to generate a response in English. So let me ask the first question now. क्या आप मुझे बबल सॉर्ट के बारे में कुछ बता सकते हैं? As you can see, it understood my question and has started answering quite quickly, if you noticed. So this is the main advantage of audio language models. They don't need an intermediate speech recognition step, which makes the turnaround time much faster. So the answer is quite detailed. It goes through the iterations and so on. Okay, it looks quite good. Let me prod it a bit further. इस algorithm को Python में implement कीजिए, please. Okay. Now it goes on to write code, and okay, it's also giving us example usage and some explanation of what the code does and so on. Okay. We can also see the conversation history here, which is helpful because we can better understand what the context to the model is and so on, which might come in handy, right? So let us now ask another question, but in a different language, right? To see if it can handle multiple languages in a single conversation. ಈ ಅಲ್ಗಾರಿದಮ್ನ C++ ಅಲ್ಲಿ rewrite ಮಾಡಿ, please. Okay, it seems to have understood and is proceeding to rewrite the code. Yeah, this can be quite powerful since it removes much of the pre-processing we need to do for voice interfaces, right? Like language identification, etc. before we pass the inputs to the language model. Okay, so it looks like it has rewritten it correctly. So let's move on to ask a question in English this time. Can you make this code recursive? Okay. So it goes on to do that. So another advantage of this model,
I will stop here, but
and
the
our
idea
approach in
is
general
that,
is that we,
yeah, the idea is here that we have actually taken this or Llama and put an audio front end out of it and working in 10 languages. This is actually available on Hugging Face. You can actually use it if you want to do. It's about, in terms of time for first token, it is less than 100 milliseconds to actually from when you speak to the first token generation, because there is no speech recognition or any other step in between there. It's available. In addition to that, it at least people feel it is superior to a system where you actually say use Whisper and Llama and did something. And this is so it's extremely both efficient. Actually, it's also efficient, and it's available for people. If you want to take that and you want to start and build something on that, you need to be able to do. It's on Hugging Face. You got to figure out how to do it from there. but it is there as contribution to exciting people who are out there. Okay. The other thing that we have is that we've actually worked on is actually a foundation model that we've trained from scratch in India. Okay. So this is actually a small model, deliberately a small model. We have trained it's a 2 billion parameter model, but it's trained on 4 trillion tokens, out of which 2 trillion are Indian language tokens. There's nothing else that has actually been done at this scale that is there. In fact, there was only maybe, in last year when we started, maybe, and even today, if you look at it, there's maybe 100 billion tokens in Indian languages. We actually use a lot of very clever way to create synthetic data to actually train these models. And we trained on 1,024 H100s in India, okay? So it took only 15 days to train, but still, this is something which, again, and this also has been open sourced on Hugging Face, okay? Just so it gets stand. So available for free. And the point of these models is to, now it's not, it's a general model, but models that have to do with indic tasks, it is extremely good. If I want to do summarization in Indian languages, if I want to do, name any kind of NLP task in Indian languages, this will beat, models that are much bigger. There are two important things that, you can see in terms of the performance on a translation task compared to various other models that are there. So it typically is about 10 times better for Indian languages because the model compared to an 8 billion parameter model is about 4 times smaller. And on top of that, the indic tokenization is about 3 times more efficient than anything else. Actually, compared to Llama, it's even 5-6 times more efficient. So therefore, if you want to do things in Indian languages, this model is actually a very, very good starting point. So we've released a pre-trained checkpoint of that, and people can use it. We also use it in the various products that I talked about earlier, but it is also available, again, on Hugging Face for people to use. Okay. The other part which we've done is that we've taken many of the models that we had that were part of the products that we have built, and we have also made these models available for people to do this thing. And we believe that all these models have something unique and different compared to the existing models that have been there. So we'll talk about them one by one. So we'll talk about speech-to-text, and this is interesting. We have built a single speech-to-text model where you can speak in any Indian language. Output will always be in English. Okay, now if you're going to use an LLM with it, you can understand why that is a useful thing to do. So therefore, you can speak in any language and the output will be in English. And it is significantly better than Whisper, which I would say is probably the state of the art for doing these things. But it has two interesting capabilities, which is there. The first one is the automatic language identification. So you can speak in any language, it will identify what the language is, and it will transcribe and translate into English. Not transcribe, it will actually translate into English. Okay? The other thing, of course, is this concept of context awareness and domain intelligence. I'll show those by an example rather than anything else. So let's look at this audio. It's a very short audio. Hopefully it will play. Please play. I think we're having some problems here. Is there an audio there? Yes, okay. Can you play? Okay. Can you play this audio? This audio? Yeah.
The team is fixing.
Yeah.
दो हम करेंगे बस
Yeah. Can you increase the volume? It's very short
दो हम
audio.
करेंगे बस दो हम करेंगे बस
Okay. So if you look at a typical ASR, it said, do hum karenge bus is what it said. If you look at a typical ASR, maybe it may translate it, we'll do 2 buses. What will they do? I don't know without the context. And it's interesting. Now, if you use the model from Saras has the ability to actually give context. So if you have a context that how will you rate this product is the context, right? Then the transcription that comes is, we will give it a 2, which if you play it again, if we can hear it. Yeah. Oh, no, not the previous one. Yeah. Okay.
I think it played.
Yeah, play please.
दो हम करेंगे बस
So it's obvious if the question was, how would you rate this product? And you have this audio, it's actually much more accurate to understand what you want to do with that. So that is the point, that context, and it is semantic context. A lot of ASRs have hot words and things like this. It's not a hot word, right? I could say that I'm talking about fragrances, and the probability of smell coming out of my ASR is actually raised. So it's not a hot word, it's a semantic context, which is being done here in this model. This another one, I think I'll skip this because we have maybe...
मुझे ABV के 33 शेयर खरीदने हैं. NSE का शेयर प्राइस 53.58 और BSE का शेयर प्राइस 53.15 है ना?
So now if I say that this is the context of this is actually I'm a context where I'm trying to sell a stock, the same ASR ends up happening, all these things get corrected. Because I'm saying this is a domain. Here I'm saying that the conversation is about selling of a stock. Okay. So that's about our speech. These are, by the way, these APIs are available, so people can actually, endpoints are available. You can sign up, you can do a free trial, and you can use these. These APIs are available today. Then we've also created this new kind of translation models, which, traditionally, if you took something, and this first is, for those who can read Hindi, the formal translation is an accurate translation, but it is not the most accessible translation. So we can actually take and create these colloquial translations that come out of these systems. This is specifically, this is when you're actually looking at really complex things, and this is something I personally worked on. I worked on what was known as SUVAS, which is actually a system which the Supreme Court uses to translate judgments into Indian languages. And at those times, I had built formal models to do those kinds of things. And you see, while this translation is perfectly accurate, and I'm decent in Hindi, I grew up in Delhi, but it is complex to understand. And so therefore, whether it is a little bit in the eye of the beholder, but what if the translation was actually something like this, right? So, is the accessibility of what you want to do greater as a result of something like this? So therefore we have these colloquial translation models that we've built here. Then we'll come to text-to-speech. And we have released basically 10 languages, text-to-speech in 10 languages with 6 different voices in there which people can use. Now, the interesting thing about, and so I'll just play just one example of, I will play, and this, most people who are working on text-to-speech will recognize which text-to-speech I'm playing here. This is not Sarvam's text-to-speech. It's probably from an emotional and other perspective, probably the best text-to-speech that exists. But see what it does in a real-world situation.
नमस्ते, क्या आप अपना ए बी है ए आईडी बनाना चाहेंगे? आप ए बी है ए कार्ड अपने ए धार आईडी से भी बना सकते हैं. ए बी है ए से 140 सरभरातियों को आज से 5 लाख तक का स्वास्थ्य बीमा मिलेगा. एबीडीएम गवडॉर्डन पर जकरिया 14 रियल करके अपना ए बी है ए बनाएंगे.
Okay. Now let's see what if using RTTS what happens.
नमस्ते, क्या आप अपना आभा आईडी बनाना चाहेंगे? आप आभा कार्ड अपने आधार आईडी से भी बना सकते हैं। आभा से 140 करोड़ भारतीयों को 5 लाख तक का स्वास्थ्य बीमा मिलेगा। abdm.gov.in पर जाकर या *14# डायल करके अपना आभा बनाएं।
So that's a difference where you're understanding the context of why you're doing something like this. So,
Namaste.
Sorry. Okay. And we on top of that have a certain kind of analytics, and I won't talk much about the analytics APIs as well, where we can actually create analytics on top of the existing calls that are there, and and build various kinds of specific. So I won't talk that much about it. And we have a model store. All these APIs are available on our model store, so you can unlock the power of using these APIs on Sarvan's model store. And then, I mean, full documentation. So please try and give feedback. And everybody, you just have to sign up. You can get free credits to do that. And the goal is to build your own pipeline. Do whatever you want, what you think you can do with these things in Indian languages. That's our goal. That's our reason why we want to be able to do these kinds of things. And that's it. Thank you.